A lot of us tend to think that this job of sharing faith is really for the professionals, for the pastors, people who've been to seminary, who've been trained in this, youth pastors, that kind of thing. But we have to tend to remember that all of us have a story. It isn't just for the theologians. Remember, Jeremy talked about that you and I have a story. Have a faith story. And Deuteronomy 6 reminds us again, as it says, we're to teach these things to our children, talk about them as we walk along the road together, have it be a part of our conversation, even though it's threatening. The National Study of Youth and Religion that's been mentioned talked about the fact that most teenagers can't talk about their faith because they see so very few adults model it. And yet Souls in Transition, a follow-up to that study, says that kids are open to talking to adults about life and faith, but often we adults don't quite know how to put language and words to it. And I would argue that language and words are really necessary. We often misuse the St. Francis of Assisi quote that we often hear in church, communicate the gospel at all times. If necessary, use words. It's a great quote. But where we mess it up is we tend to only use the first part. We say, I'm going to communicate the gospel at all times. I'm going to let my life be the gospel. I'm going to let my faith just shine through my examples. And that's okay, but really, is your life that much of a God story that just simply by living your life, they will know who God is and what the story of God is all about? I wonder about that. I don't think my life is that good. They might recognize me as a nice person. But the second half of the quote is essential. If necessary, use words. And I would argue it's necessary.